Well, welcome along to episode 2. We did say it's going to be about F1, and wow, is all I'm going to say. We'll be going through not just the race today, but the overall championship and maybe a little bit of a look into next year. Chris, how are you today, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad at all. I mean, what a race, really. Kept us on the edge of our seat for the majority of the race. So a good final race of the season.
It was, do you know what? Anyone who tells me that F1 is boring needs to look back at this season. For me, this has been a standout season in quite a while. It reminds me nearly of 2012, just so much happening. Obviously, not as many winners, don't get me wrong, but it was super, super exciting. And what a way to tip the nod at the DRS leaving at the end of the race today as well. And just a great championship, mate. Fantastic racing throughout the whole field, though, being the major kind of key standout point as well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's been a great season in one form or another. Either the way the ebb and flow of the championship, the way Red Bull come back into it near the end. Some of that midfield, there's been some drivers in that midfield who really stood out this season as well. So, yeah, it was a good season to watch.
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. In terms of the race today, though, we were really treated to a real nail-biting finish. Three drivers going into it that could win the championship. But then also there was a massive kind of change throughout the midfield as well about the Constructors' Championship. So people were really, really racy today, let's be honest. Lewis Hamilton's race, I'd like to start with him, though, because I think that got overshadowed a little bit. Obviously, with everything else that happened, be it that it is a championship season. But like 16th up into 7th was a great recovery from a man who genuinely struggled throughout the season in that car.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't get my head around it. He struggles so much in qualifying in that car, and yet he can really turn it on in the race. If he can just get his qualifying sorted out and his race in the same weekend, he could have had some really good races this season, but he never seemed to tie a whole weekend together.
He's as we discussed before, he's not a man, unless he's happy in the car. He must have done something, though, after quali yesterday, because obviously 16th is not good enough for a 7-time world champion. Let's just be straight up and say that as it is. And it's not good enough for Lewis Hamilton, for the driver and the caliber of the driver that he is. But it was a massive recovery, and I do really hope Ferrari give him a car next year that's going to, put him back into the fight a bit, because I'd be very, very sad if this was how we remember his career, is at the end of it like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a point I made a couple of weeks back, and I think there's a point got made in the commentary when I was watching the Formula One. I truly believe Hamilton's really struggled in this era of car. The ground effect car, he has not suited his driving whatsoever. So I think next season's going to be a telling season as to where Lewis Hamilton is. Is he past it, or was it just his era of car?
I would probably put it more on the era of the car. Obviously, drivers degrade after a certain time as well. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, no, I'd agree that. It's the same with Danny Rick, as you even mentioned as well, and a few others there. It just doesn't suit them, and that's fine. They're after coming from generations with the V8s, much less aero. Some of them V10s, obviously Alonso, and then even through the 2014 to 2018 reg change, and the 2018 to 2021 was probably my favorite reg change in the hybrid era so far. The wide wings low, and they were just absolutely super fast. But no, I think hopefully he'll come back strong. But in terms of the race, for me, probably one of the bigger standout drives of the race today, even though there's a lot to unpack in the race, I do feel that got overshadowed a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think
rightly
at the
so.
end, he missed a trick. I do feel like P6 was on.
Yeah.
But however, he had been out on them tyres, changed to the mediums. I still think there's more to come from Lewis next season. I'm excited to see with the new cars just where is he at, because like we said with Danny Rick, I feel like those who are really strong on the brakes have struggled in this era car. So look, I think for Lewis now, he needs to draw a line underneath it and sort of go, look, we're done with them, let's come back next season. New cars, smaller cars as well, which might suit him. Let's just see where we stand then.
Yeah, and even I'm going to start at the top 10. We'll go through the people outside the top 10 at the minute. Obviously, I just wanted to say that about Lewis, but Lance Stroll gets a point in the last race. And you know what? I'll be honest, he was quite racy today. I was actually, for once, I was thinking to myself, do you know what, Lance, that's good on you. Fair play, because he got a little bit more racy.
I just can't warm to him. That's that's that. At the end of the day, I don't think he deserves to be in the car. I don't think he
Oh, no, he
deserves a
doesn't.
seat. It's daddy's money. And
Yeah.
why it's daddy's money. He literally throws his tantrums, does what he's like with the full security. They can do what he like, and he's not going to go anywhere. And I just don't like it. And I just can't take from that's that for me. I really wish he wasn't on the grid anymore.
Yeah, well, I said that to you last week. He should have been on the grid seasons ago. He doesn't deserve the seat in terms of what he's putting into the team. But it was just a nice little flash run for the end of the season. And do you know what? It was just nice to see him getting a bit elbows out. Then ahead of him, then Nico Hulkenberg finished in P9. Obviously, Nico forever is consistent man. And while he done very well, I do feel bad for his teammate obviously not getting into the top 10. But Nico done a fantastic job. He finished not too far. I think it was only about half a second or so ahead of Lance Stroll as well. So there was going to be a fight there if the laps went on that bit more. But yeah, did you get to see much of Nico's race as well, or how did you feel he done?
I've just been impressed with Nico Hulkenberg all season. To be fair, he's had another strong race, another couple of points for Sauber in their last race before Audi comes in. For me, I mean, he obviously lost his seat for a bit, but ever since he's come back, I think he found his groove again.
Yeah,
he's shown his quality again, showing what he's all about. Every week, you sort of get a 7 out of 10 out of Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah,
you just know what you get from him, and he is what he is for me. He does a really good job in whichever team he's in.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Obviously, we touched on Lewis, so we're going to jump on. We were just discussing this before we started recording here today. I was super impressed with Ocon today. He showed, like, both of us agreed that we didn't feel he'd done a great job this season at all, and we're surprised how bad he done, and kind of not thinking he deserved a seat next year. But this was equal to his second best performance, and it was great to see him up P7 and in the go again, because I suppose with Esteban Ocon, he was another guy who lost his seat like Hulkenberg, but he was a Mercedes driver for a while under the Mercedes driver program as well. And I do feel he does have the talent, and maybe it's the same thing that this kind of rule set on cars didn't suit him. So I'm really hoping next year we see more out of him, because I do feel if he doesn't perform next year, he could be out of Formula One.
Yeah, if he was good enough, I think Mercedes would have kept hold of him. He gets feisty out there. He's all right, but I think that's where he is for me. He's okay. It was a good result for him. Last race of the season, again. But when you just look at his season as a whole, he's just not been there. I mean, I'm looking here 17th, 13th, 20th, 11th, 17th, 17th, 20th. And that's down to Italy, 15th, Netherlands, 18th. You know, you kind of get a sort of understanding, or that's where he started. And he's had better races. But
also, you need to give him that bit of presence. He's gone from Alpine, who has as well. So that will play part in it. But I still don't feel he performed good enough compared to Ollie Berman, who we'll obviously talk to later or talk about in a while. But like in terms of the race today, though, I think he done an exceptional job in the Haas.
As a standalone race,
yeah,
I think he done a very good job today, and I'm not knocking him for that. Today he went and delivered, and it's a shame we haven't had more of that throughout the season. Is my point from him.
Yeah, I agree. But P6 though, what a man, Fernando Alonso. Like, did you see his race start when Charles Leclerc? What?
If you give Alonso the car, he's going to do something.
Oh, he's a legend.
And I'm so excited to see what he does next season because of it.
Yeah. Oh man, I was just that start when I thought he was getting third position straight away. I was like, God dang. But yeah, look, Fernando is amazing. It's just unfortunate he hasn't had the car to go with it. But you know what I've noticed in Fernando, and I suppose what I call the later years Fernando, he's much more calmer about stuff, and he doesn't lose the head. He's not like, you remember Fernando of old, where he's super political. He really would just fuck himself up at a team. He'd give out that much where they just didn't want him. Yeah. So like, I'm loving the Fernando Alonso now, and he's really enjoying his racing, and I think that's where you see it. Like today, elbows out with George Russell. Then afterwards, he had a great battle with George for a while before George got by him. But for me, Fernando Alonso doing epic today. It was truly just a pleasure watching his racing throughout the full race today. It was really good.
What I like about Fernando, I think he's one of few drivers on that grid who could be in that Aston Martin team next to Stroll.
Yeah.
Where he's so comfortable in his own skin and his own abilities, he's not bothered who's in that second seat. And that just being in that environment, I think Alonso, what he's very good at is bringing that team in around him, making it his team.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's the second seat is. It doesn't matter if that's Lance Stroll. He's not bothered by that. And season in, season out, you just see his quality. And yes, he's getting on. And yes, I would be looking at a replacement plan for the next season or two. However, right now, he's still driving as good as ever.
Oh yeah, like realistically, I know he's early mid-40s now. I would still keep him until he wants to retire, unless it's either he is not performing anymore. But yeah, no, a phenomenal job from today. And you know what, P5 for George Russell. He had the pace, but just the car couldn't keep its tires at all. Still a great, for them, they sealed second place in the championship today with that P5 as well. But it was more so, I just think he done as good of a job as he could do in the car, and I'm sure him, like Toto Wolff, would probably be delighted to see the back of these regulations, because unfortunately Mercedes just did not get it right. But today he done a phenomenal job in a car which struggled.
We spoke about this before. It's the one thing about Russell, 99 times out of 100, he's going to extract the maximum from the car.
Yeah.
It's very rarely you leave a race weekend, look at George Russell in the car and go, he didn't extract that, or he underperformed, or he didn't finish where he should have finished. Today, I look at that, there was no way on earth George Russell was going to finish higher than fifth.
No.
But he got fifth.
But George knew that himself. If you looked at his interviews yesterday as well, he did say that straight away himself, that, that's realistically where we are.
Yeah.
And fair play to him. But, he done a great job today, as I said. But do you know who impressed me as well was Charles Leclerc. He brought that Ferrari to life. And everybody was getting excited, especially he was so close to Norris for quite a bit of the race. But I really wasn't worried. I said it to you, I think, even during the race, because we were obviously chatting throughout the race. And it's just unfortunate. I knew Ferrari's tyres, they weren't really good at managing them, but Charles outdrove himself today. And when you compare how he's driven all season to Lewis, obviously, don't get me wrong, Lewis has come across from the Mercedes, but forever, for me, Charles is just super, super, super impressive. But unfortunately for him, will Ferrari actually ever give him a car that's going to be capable of fighting for a championship? And that's what we will be talking about, hopefully, in a little bit for 2026 as well. But as of today,
I said last week, didn't I? There was the rumours that he might be going to Aston Martin. I don't think he wants to go to Aston Martin, by the way. I think he wants to succeed at Ferrari. Yeah. However, as you just touched on, is he ever going to get the car he deserves for his ability?
Look at him today. In fairness, he brought the car where it shouldn't have been. He was mega quick.
Let's be honest. I think both Hamilton and Leclerc were quick today.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. That's why we touched on Hamilton first.
And I know there was some points difference between Hamilton and Leclerc, but let's also be honest. Hamilton finished 6th this season. And Leclerc 5th.
Yeah, he won't be happy with that though. But no, over today's race though, Charles, exceptional. Unfortunately, it's just the car probably kept him from really challenging Lando. Then again, jumping into Lando and P3, we said it last week, that's all he needed to do, and that's pretty much what happened. He managed his race, even at the start of the race, was tyre managing nearly from lap 1. And he done exactly what he needed to do. When he needed to start pulling the gap again, when it got a bit uncomfortable at Leclerc, he started pulling it out again.
Well, we said that, didn't they? He was either going to run off of it, or sit in third place and just stay out of trouble.
Yeah. It looks super impressive.
He played a smart game. He knew what he needed to do.
Yeah.
I think the early scare was if Leclerc got in front of him, and then if Lando couldn't have made the overtake, because that McLaren does struggle in dirty air. That was my only concern. But yeah, I think Lando knew he had it in hand. Like I said, he was tyre saving. He knew he had it in hand.
I wasn't worried about him, because when you see Lando going through the midfield, people, he was pulling moves out of his arse. In fairness, that was super impressive. And then the double move as well with Lawson.
Yeah. Was it the move on Ocon as well? The late dive, the late braking.
yeah.
What an
Oh
overtake that was.
man, like he's a legend. Like, so I wasn't worried about the overtakes today, but he showed his class, and like we'll obviously talk about kind of the full roundup of the season now in a few minutes. But no, he done an amazing job today, and obviously that P3 did get in the championship. We will touch on that in a few minutes, but P2 for Oscar Piastri, he couldn't do that more. Like what? Like he done a phenomenal drive as well.
Well, again, all season he's been great. I think he had a little blitz in that sort of middle of the season. He fell away, and I think that's what's lost in the championship end of the day.
Yeah, it was the last 6 races, 7 races. Yeah,
But
not
there's no denying how good he is and how much he's improved season on season. I mean, that guy, come 5-6 seasons into his Formula One career, is going to be an absolutely unbelievable driver. And he is now, but how good is he going to get?
I still think he's going to be a world champion in a few years, and that's like you see someone that young driving that amazing, but also he's as cool as a cucumber on the radio. There's no such thing as pressure with him. Even in his worst moments, he didn't blow the head. Now, in fairness, I think there was probably a little bit of it at Baku. Other than that, I could say he was flawless, and he was just unfortunate.
The thing what impresses me with him, it's not just all that business. It's but when he identifies a weakness, how quickly does he rectify that weakness?
Yeah, he's such an old head and young shoulders. Like he's a talent.
Find a weakness in his. It was like the low grip tracks he used to struggle with.
Yeah,
he was getting on top of that.
Yeah,
like he's so good at going. I struggle in this section. I'm going to work with it, and it doesn't take him long to master that weakness.
No,
that's what makes him so special.
Yeah. No, for me, he's exceptional, like absolutely exceptional. And then, of course, I'm going to jump onto the race winner. Like a generational talent is pretty much the only way to sum Max Verstappen up. Like, what was it, 6 out of the last 8 races or 9 races he's won? He's won the most races this year and has only missed out on the championship by 2 points. He couldn't have done that better today. He was literally exceptional in that car, like a masterclass of driving.
I mean, I will caveat that with the DNF for the McLarens. Because I think it would have been a whole different story if that DNF didn't happen. However, I think, like, again, we touched this. What's he so good? He's so good at just hanging in there. When that car wasn't good enough, he hung in there. And when they sorted the car out, then you go back. He's a generational talent. There's no better driver on that grid than Max Verstappen.
No.
And the fact he went from being, was it 105, 115 points back at one point to finishing second, in which essence was a 2-horse race between the McLarens.
Yep.
By the way.
Yep.
He finished second.
Yep. But not just second, 2 points off winning the championship.
Yeah. It shows you how important that overtake was, though, weren't it, last week from Lando Norris?
Yeah. It was crucial.
That was the difference.
It was crucial.
Difference over these 2 weeks. That one overtake won Lando the championship.
But like, I'd never say the DNFs for McLaren were the only thing, because Red Bull have done some things with Max as well. Like pretty much before Zandvoort. Once Zandvoort hit, we all thought, right, Max is definitely not going to be part of this year. But it's his talent by pulling, like, not the best car into positions it shouldn't be in. 100%. And he's a phenomenal driver. But today, it was just a pleasure to watch him, and I was just so happy because you were discussing this with me beforehand as well, is the whole, would he not have backed up the people and tried to win it that way? You said it's only due to Lando and his friendship. While there probably is a bit of that, I just don't think Max is like that. I think he wins a fair and square, but he also knew, even if they backed him up, it's only Leclerc that could get by Lando, because Russell was struggling. No one else is going to get by Lando. And then they had the ace anyway of having Piastri in second, that they could do the switcheroo. So I really feel Max wanted to win this race properly, but he wanted, if he was to win the championship, win it properly, because I just feel he's that class of a driver. He doesn't need to try and pull moves.
No, that's where I disagree. And what I mean by that, Lando's proved over and over, not Lando, Max, he will do whatever needs to be done to win a championship. He will drive you up the track. He will put you in situations where you crash or you move out the way. He doesn't care. And it's not about class. It's not about skill. It is purely and simply, when a win is on the cards, Max will do it however it needs to be done. He doesn't care. And I do think there's an element of friendship there with Lando Norris today, that he wasn't as stone cold killer-wise as I think it would have been if it was anyone else. I
Well,
truly think he would have rode that race slightly different today.
if Christian Horner was in charge, I would have seen that happening. But also, realistically, even if he'd done that, Lando was still going to get that championship. They could have swapped Lando and Oscar around regardless. See, this is the thing. Even if there was a safety car backed up, it just wasn't going to happen. And then even at that stage, if there was, say, a safety car, they were backed up, then he's going to put himself to be overtook by Piastri or have an incident with one of them and lose out in the championship regardless. I just think he genuinely knew it was maybe a 1% chance of winning by doing it like that.
He was hoping. He was hoping to Leclerc. That's all he was hoping for.
But yeah.
But Piastri's. Let's be honest, yeah. If Max won it and Leclerc passed Norris, okay, there's no way McLaren would have told.
Of course, but that's exactly my point. That's why there was no need for Max to try it, because it just wasn't going to work for him. So I think it was the better thing to do. Now, I can guarantee you, Christian Horner was still the team principal, that would have been done. Because Christian is as ruthless,
Yeah. But look, let's not take anything away from Lando today.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's over a season. He's deserved it, hasn't he?
Obviously, I am a McLaren fan. I've been a Lando fan for a long time. For me, it was phenomenal. Like, he showed a lot of maturity this year as well, I think, on and off the track. Just going through, I suppose, every single race. Like, he obviously won in Australia. Then he didn't win again until I think it was Monaco. So he had quite a drought there as well, where Oscar was getting win after win after win. And then Max had 2 up before he got a second one. And then next of all, he just got stronger and stronger. But the consistency of him, he had the Prost-like consistency, as I touched on before. I just think he's so calculated. He didn't overdo it, and a lot of people were maybe pointing that as a weakness. But Sebastian Vettel even said that he's a super strong driver as well, because Vettel was actually obviously chatting to him about the year. I'd seen him in an interview on that, and I just feel Lando has matured massively. And what I mean from that is on and off the grid. Like in the past, when Lando was fairly new in the Formula One, you could see things outside of, I suppose, F1 affected him with his social media presence and the sim racing and stuff like that. At the time, yourself, back through the COVID days, he was looking at all the comments and stuff. I just think he's a different breed now. And, with McLaren winning the championship last year, I think that just clicked the light bulb in his head that this is his best chance now coming into this season, because obviously he finished like an absolute good thing last season. And, we could taste that there was going to be a fight this year. So he obviously, whatever he's done for preparation and to mature, he's done an exceptional job. Now, do I think he's an overall better driver than Max? I just don't think anybody is in the grid. But I think he has been absolutely phenomenal. And he's been so calculated. He truly deserves the championship.
100%. I mean, we was chatting about this. I think this season was the season for Lando. My main concern, if he didn't win it this season, was he going to get another chance? Well, because of how good Max is. And we don't know what the cards are going to be like. But this was, for me, the season to go to win it. But not just that, it's the mentality. Now he's a world champion. Yeah, we saw how good he ended last season. He's got it over the line this season. Are we going to see an even stronger Lando now next season? He's a world champion.
I really think we will, because he's going to be like, I've done it. I want more. That's going to be the thing now.
For me, the main thing, and I said this before, the main thing about Lando, the thing that beats Lando is Lando.
Yeah. But most drivers.
His mentality. He struggles at times, and they spoke about it today. Mentally, he gets in his own head.
But we've seen him grow from that.
And we saw that this season, actually.
Yeah.
When we spoke about this, didn't we? Some point mid-season, when he had fallen behind Piastri, something changed. Something clicked in Lando. And when that clicked, Piastri couldn't cope with him again.
Yeah. Well, I suppose to touch on Piastri as well while we're talking about Lando, Oscar has had a phenomenal season. Obviously, that start of the season was electric. He had a massive, if it was 35, 40 points ahead of Lando at one stage and more than to Max. Unfortunately, I feel this was still a year for Oscar of learning, where I suppose the extra few seasons that Lando had in has Lando in the position where I suppose Oscar will be in the next year or two, because I truly believe Oscar will be a world champion. It's just a matter of time, being absolutely honest. But yeah, like Lando just matured this season, and that's where I suppose the maturity lacked a little bit in Piastri, but it's also experience of Formula One and for that tough points as well. Lando's kind of had that experience, especially through 2021, 22, where the car was kind of okay and then struggled. And even in 2024, we started off the year bad and kind of came back and then obviously won the championship. So Lando's been through the highs and lows. Oscar's kind of only getting there. And I feel Oscar is going to be an absolute nightmare for drivers next season, because he would have learned so much and took so much away from this season when he reflects back on it. I do feel he's going to come back much stronger. But yeah, for me, I'm super, super excited. Like, I'm looking at the driver standings here now. Norris wins by 2 points, and it was then 11 points then from Oscar to Max. And I thought, what it could have been when you look at that for Oscar. But then George Russell, P4. And a Mercedes that shouldn't be in P4, really.
We go back to saying Russell. Let's go start with this on your last one. Russell always gets the best out of whatever car he's driving.
Yeah.
That Mercedes wasn't a great car this year.
No.
Okay. With Oscar, we touched year after year, he's improved. Now, what he's had this year that he hasn't had any other year so far is a title battle, a championship battle. He's now been involved in a championship battle. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't really win your first season fighting for the championship. What you have to do, you learn, you gain experience, mentally, you gain strength.
Yeah.
And he'll come back next season all the stronger for it. And now you think last season Norris was in that fight a bit more.
Yeah.
He grew from it.
100%.
This season, yes, he had a wobble, but he got his head back in the game and he's gone and won the championship this season after the battle last season.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like Lando's been brilliant, is all I can say. It's still though, right? I'm a McLaren fan, I'm a Lando fan, I'm an Oscar fan, but I still think Max has impressed me more than anyone. They still not have a car good enough to win a championship. Be there right to the bitter end. Unbelievable. But also looking through the drivers' championships, like, look, you have to feel a bit rough for Tsunoda. Yes, he's lost his seat, but like, for a Red Bull racing driver, only 33 points compared to Max 400 and 21. That's tough going, like. And even like Lawson has finished ahead of him as well. Like Lawson on 38 points.
Look, okay, I'm gonna take that with a pinch of salt. Yeah.
What point?
If Tsunoda was in the Racing Bulls where he started the season, he would have finished the season on more points.
I honestly don't agree.
I 100%. He started the season stronger than Hadjar. I know Hadjar was new in. Okay, he was right up there. If you look at the beginning of the season, okay, let's find Tsunoda here because he's obviously further down the list. Go to his results right at the beginning of the season. What's he got? A 12th, a 16th, a 12th, a 9th, and then retired a 10th, a 10th. Okay, in that Red Bull, he was driving okay. I think he would have finished in more points than what he ended the season on at Red Bull. But that Red Bull is just too hard to drive. We all know it.
It doesn't matter though. For a top team, though, for a top team, you need to be getting a top driver in then to compensate, because at the end of the day, they finished third this year.
Everyone's failed in that car. Even Perez in the last season and a half, 18 months in that car, wasn't getting. He was going out in Q1 as well. Everyone has failed in that particular car lately.
If I was Red Bull, I would have got signs last year. I would have popped signs in. I know there was the whole thing, they didn't get on well, but like, they seemed to get on okay in Toro Rosso, and I do feel they should have put a top driver in, tried to get even Hamilton in or Alonso or someone.
Yeah,
I think they missed the trick by not getting a proper proven strong driver.
I thought 100% Sainz was holding out.
Yeah,
for that. Sainz, I was watching an interview with Sainz literally the other day, and they're saying even before he knew he was getting released, from Ferrari, he got approached by James Fowles.
Wow.
Okay, about how he would fit into their team, their project, and the thing that appealed for sites was that he basically feels loved within that team. And it sounds like he very much could have pushed for the Red Bull move, but didn't want it.
Yeah.
He wanted to go to Williams. So there's more to this story, I think, than they should have just signed.
Was that the interview on with Jake Humphries? Or
no?
Because I watched one or two with Carlos this year, and I do remember a similar story actually. I suppose going back to the driver standings there as well, like looking through all the rookies and that, Kimi Antonelli finished 7th in the Drivers' Championship, which is super respectable in his very first season.
Yep.
You know, can't fault that. Obviously, Leclerc and Hamilton 5th and 6th. The next one then was Isaac Hadjar for P12 in the Racing Bulls, and you know what? It wasn't probably the end of the season that he wanted, but I'm super excited to what's to come for him. Ollie Berman then behind him, then Liam Lawson. Yeah, it's been good. Gabriel Bortoleto though, for like P19 he finished. I still feel he is a star in the making as well, and I don't know if I go on a limb and say he's do you know what I will? I reckon in the right car he'd be a future world champion as well in a few years. But he needs a bit more development.
The first time in a while, I mean, we do get times where they have a push on young drivers coming through, and we don't see the talent. They're not good enough. They're not ready.
Yeah.
And you sort of sit there thinking, right, why have you given them a seat? Is it money based or whatever? It's the first time in a long while I've seen a group of young drivers come through to F1 who I truly think deserve to be there.
100%. Like, even Colin Pinto, as much as I give him, hey, I'm going to be interested to see what he does next year when they have a proper PU behind him. So I'm going to hold my, not even hating him, it's just I felt he could have done better, but the car was just awful, the Alpine. So even for Colin Pinto, which a class as a rookie being his first full season, give him the benefit of the doubt for next season, I feel. Because I don't think he's a super bad driver. He showed kind of promise the year before. So I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, look, there's a lot to watch out for next season. We know that.
Yeah. So
there's a lot.
We're going to let you jump into that because I know we have a few questions on that as well. Just to quickly look over the team standings, I suppose. Obviously, McLaren, 833 points. Mercedes and P2, 469. There's a massive jump. But well done to Mercedes popping and keep making sure that Red Bull don't get up to them. There was, 18 points between them by the end? But that's where I come back to the second driver for Red Bull. Why didn't they put someone way more experienced in? Because Red Bull literally gave away P2 in the championship this year by not having a... And like, Yuki's a good driver, but he's no Carlos Sainz. He's no Hamilton. You know, there were so many drivers they could have went for. And I even feel Danny Rick might have done a better job. And I know Danny Rick was on
No. You know what? By the way, I agree with that one. For me, even when Danny Rick was struggling at RB, I probably would have stuck him in the Red Bull.
100%. 100%.
Just for numerous reasons. Okay, I get he was struggling, but their second drivers always struggle anyway.
Yeah.
But if someone could stand there next to Max and not mentally crumble, it's him. He knows the team.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just feel like personnel would have fitted better with him in Red Bull than the route they went. And he is the one driver at the time. I went last season. I would have stuck him in Red Bull just because I feel like he's the better fit. Maybe not the better driver in terms of performance at RB and how he's been driving. I just think within the Red Bull fold, he would have been a better fit. And I 100%. But barring that, I just don't think there was anyone else available for him to go and grab, mate.
But it's those things that are hurting them in the championship. Like, that's worth, 20-30 million from second to third. Like, it's not a small chunk of change. Like, you know,
not in it as it is now, where it's all, you know,
it's huge money. Like,
and you need it now with the cap, with the cost cap.
Like Ferrari kind of knew their P4, but kind of more so a really, Joe, I'm really happy for Williams. P5, while it doesn't sound amazing, that's huge for Williams where they've been. Look at them even 3-4 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
What was the word James? What was the words James Feld used? Break it.
Yeah.
Break everything.
Yeah.
Now's your time. Yeah. The structures are wrong.
Yeah.
Go and break it.
Yeah.
Break it and improve it. Okay. Yeah. What a team principal he is.
Yeah. And I think that's due to him working with Toto for several years with Niki Lauda and everyone else. He absolutely absorbed every bit of that knowledge and brought it to Williams.
Yeah, and it shows you what a leader Toto Wolff is.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, think even to the fact where Lewis Hamilton still refers to him at times.
Yeah,
you've seen it this season.
Yep.
Where even Toto's sort of been involved with him mentally.
Yeah.
I could see Toto at some point. Obviously, he's going to want to step down, as in like not go to every race. I can see James Vowles going back into Mercedes, taking that role at some point.
I think though Williams might offer James Vowles. It seems to be a thing that good team principals want to have equity in the team. I won't be surprised if he's offered a small stake from Darlington Capital to stay there. It's the same, obviously. With
that's
Adrian
a different
Newey.
Conversation.
Yeah,
that's a different conversation. And we said that, didn't we? I was talking to you about that with Horner. Yeah. Same aspect where he wants equity within a team.
Well, that's why Newey done the Aston Martin thing, because he got equity in the team in the contract. So like there was a no-brainer for Newey as well to do the Aston Martin thing. But just moving on, like Racing Bulls P6, Aston Martin were only 3 points behind them though in P7. I do feel Aston Martin had a stronger end of the year than probably the strongest end of the year they've had in a few years, even though like it was decent positions, but they were so close on Pippin Racing Bulls. But that's where you need Lance to be a bit more consistent as well. And it always seems to come back to the second driver in some of these teams. Like for me, Lance Stroll, while he had a great end to the race, and I'm not taking anything away from what he done today, fair play to him, he's just not good enough to be a second driver for a team that's starting to try and fight for championships, and especially with next year coming. So,
but that's the Adrian Newey factor. I mean, what did he call it? Lunchtime chats. I think he said it was, where he didn't want to put too much time into this season's car. But basically what he was having is having lunchtime chats with the engineers. And you can see even in that small input, that car improved this season. Yeah, it wasn't a front runner, but from where it was to where it ended.
Oh, yeah, there's a big difference.
It happened after he joined.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes for them next season as well. Has as well, PA. I know it looks like it's a PA at the end of the day, but I really feel as a team they're really starting to improve as well, and I think there is a bit of momentum behind them. Look, obviously this year has been super close with the midfield, and there was only 10 points between Haas and Aston Martin, and only 9 points down from Sauber to Haas even. But for me, Haas, to be honest, all the teams are exciting me except for Alpine.
This is the best season Haas has had.
Yeah.
In a long time.
Yeah, 2016, since their fourth season.
Do I think they deserve to be on the grid? No.
What?
Okay, and Haas, not a chance. If Haas were applying to be on the grid now, considering how hard it was for Cadillac and Andretti to get on, and the money they had behind them, Haas would no way get into Formula One now.
Nah, I so disagree with that. I feel there should be a few more teams in the grid, because I'm thinking of back to the 90s and that.
No. I'm not saying there should be more teams, or there should be more. What I'm saying to you is that if Haas applied to get into Formula One now, they would not get in.
Under the model, no.
Andretti couldn't get in. And they're in Formula 2, and they got money behind them. They had Cadillac behind them, and they still couldn't get in. And it had to literally go, it had to go through to court or whatever it was to get Cadillac in. Yeah. There's no way on earth Haas, with no money, no factory, no backing, we're going to get into Formula One in today's day and age. They for me, they are taking a spot of a prime competitor now.
I would disagree with that. Don't forget, Andretti is in with Cadillac next season, though.
Yeah, but he had to drop it though, and look at all the palaver I had to go through to get in.
But that's because it's $1 billion industry, and the teams don't want that, because it then depreciates the value of each individual team. So I understand why it's much harder now than what it was back in the 90s, where it wasn't $1 billion industry per team. But no, Haas, I think, definitely do deserve to be in it. But what they need to do is get away from this model of using Ferrari components now and start completely developing their own vehicle. Use the Ferrari engine and then go with it, because I feel that's what's hindering them really from moving forward. They're leaning too hard on Ferrari for parts still. And I'm hoping that changes.
They don't want to. This is my point with them. They're not in it to win.
I get, like, when K-Mag got the pole in Brazil and stuff like that last year, the year before, that stuff still makes me super happy. Actually, it was 2024. Like, I loved them being in it. I don't know. I love all the teams, regardless of.
For me, they're not like a Sauber, and that's the difference. Sauber, okay, have had good seasons. They've had strong cars. They've tried scenarios to improve. They're now obviously going off to Audi. The difference is Sauber have tried to improve. I feel like with Haas, they're literally sitting in there, and depending on how good that Ferrari is, depends how good they are. That's that.
To a point, yeah. I suppose with Sauber, I loved them because I remember the black liveried Sauber in 94, 95 with the Mercedes engine when Mercedes first came back and before it went into McLaren. Sauber have been a good team. They kind of peaked when Perez was there in 2012. Yep. I think that was kind of their peak. P2, I think it was, or P2 it was against Alonso. We nearly got the win. Yeah, look, Sauber now are going as a works team. They are Audi now after this year. But no, I still believe Haas should be on it. But no, Sauber, I think I wouldn't even look too much into it. They're only 9 points off. But this is the thing, though. From Williams back to Sauber, it is about 50, 60 points. But it's been uber close with them. And like some of the races, it was less than a half a second covered the top 15. And, it's been just superly competitive. That's really it. And unfortunately, unfortunately for Alpine, with the engine, they've got it wrong and are in last place. But I suppose we'll jump a little bit onto next season now. They're going to have a Mercedes PU in the back of their Alpine next year. I do feel next year is going to be a change for Alpine, being honest.
Look, it's a shame that in every essence, then you're losing a works team.
Yeah, 100%.
They're no longer going to be a works team, which for me is the biggest shame. But you're right, they have never got that engine right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even Honda come in and got it right.
Well, it took Honda a few years, but that's due to McLaren being a bit of a ball ache at the time as well, back in 2015, 16, 17.
But my point being is they come into it as a new manufacturer who didn't even have a car. They worked out McLaren and then to Red Bull. Okay.
Yeah.
And now the engine after, let's say, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
How have Renault never got that engine right?
Honestly, I do feel it's very sad that we're losing an engine provider. Now, I'm super excited because obviously next year Audi are building their own engines. Cadillac are going to use Ferrari until 2029 before GM bring in their own PU. But for me, Alpine and Renault as a whole, I do feel they're synonymous with the sport. Obviously, the Vettel Red Bull collaboration in the V8 era, they had one of the best V8s. Back in the V10 eras as well, they've had
always
Alonso.
Remember Alonso.
Yeah, 100%.
Double world champion with Renault. You're never going to forget that.
Jackie Villeneuve, Hill, when you go back, Mansell. Renault were synonymous with getting champions as well in the correct cars. So honestly, I am, while this year they've been absolutely awful and they've made some really bad decisions over the last few years, I'm genuinely sad that they're not going to be building their own PUs anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's just one of those. It's a sad day. It's honestly a sad day that they have to do that. But I do feel they've done the right decision to try and get the team back in the right position by using the Mercedes PU. As weird as it is, and how much I didn't agree with it, I think they've done the right thing for the team to survive.
Yeah, look, am I a massive fan of Renault? No, not at all. Do I think they should be in F1? 100%. They should be in F1. I go back. I just don't know how they've never, ever got their engine right. And you think going into a new regulation, they might have chucked everything behind it and gone, right then, we didn't nail that, but let's get this one right. And I think it's a shame to lose a works manufacturer in every essence out of Formula One, but they're still there. We know Mercedes do get their engines right.
Yeah.
So let's see where they stand next season. It might be, like you're saying, it might be the best move they made in a long time. They might suddenly become competitive again because they've got the engine. Look at the change it made with Red Bull when they left Renault and went to Honda.
Yeah. So even from McLaren, even moving away from Honda and Renault back to Mercedes, bang, they're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
so I am looking forward. But next season's a load of unknowns, a lot of changes.
Yeah.
It's impossible to tell right now, and there's a lot of excitement around it.
Yeah, well, what I'm excited for as well is Audi are coming with their own power unit as well. For me, I'm so excited to see what they do. Is it going to be a good engine? Is it going to be a mare? Also, looking down with Red Bull powertrains fully being officially ran in as well with their partnership with Ford in the technical side of it. I'm super excited that we've got Red Bull powertrains, Mercedes, Ferrari, you've got Audi, and then the Honda engine coming back in as a works team with Aston Martin. So, like, to be honest with you, and then with Cadillac in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, it's a super exciting time to see so many manufacturers coming back in. So that's why it's bittersweet that Renault have stopped. We could have had 7 different engine providers in F1. It's been years since we had that much kind of going on, and it was super exciting. But even with the 6 it's going to be then in 2025 next year, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen, and especially with having Cadillac on the grid and Audi coming in as a full works team for Sauber. Like, there's so much excitement for me there just in that alone. Having the extra 2 cars on the grid, it's a bigger spectacle. I'd love to see the full 24 on the grid, or was it 26 is what the limit was where they can run them. But like, we're getting, hopefully we might get one more team in the next few years because there is another few manufacturers looking to get in. But in terms, I suppose, in next year's regulations, we jump onto that really quick as well. Not just about the complete change.
Just touching on Aston Martin. I think that's a really clever move by Aston Martin.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
What we saw from Honda before they backed out was how committed they were.
Yeah.
How quickly they mobilized, had full team. They were basically embedded. They're going to be basically Aston Martin. They embed themselves right in with the team, with engineers, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Aston Martin are basically going to be their own works team with their own engine. Yeah. Working really closely, designing the car around the engine rather than trying to make an engine fit the car they've designed.
Yeah.
Okay. Even that key factor is so important, because a lot of these people who obviously buy their engines, okay, they design the car and then they got to try and squeeze it into the design of their car. And no one quite knows what the engine's going to be like next season. So I think you might find when you look at a car, there might be little bumps where they've literally had to just change the car slightly to fit the engine in.
I did have the measurements fairly early on for that. But what it is, though, don't forget, while you're talking about having that, Honda had pulled out of Formula 1 in 2021, but then Red Bull convinced them to stay in. And then when Honda realised just how much of a gem they're actually building, that's when they decided to come back into it. So I'm delighted that they gave Red Bull the extra chance to keep them in F1. But also, while you're talking about having, not being a customer team and having the full race and sorry, the engine being developed with your car, what I will say is this, though: while that's all well and good, don't forget Ferrari have done it for years. Red Bull will be doing it next year as well. So they're not the only one. Mercedes have been doing it as well, and Mercedes customers teams are beating them. So it's a super exciting move. I'm just hoping for Aston Martin, they need to get a bit more aggressive, get rid of the driver who isn't working, and possibly both of them. By the time Alonso, they might have the car that's fighting for a championship. Alonso might just have dropped off by then. We don't know. That's an unknown. But they need to start acting like a works team. They need to start making those decisions now, keeping the emotional side out of family and stuff like that. They're going to have to start actually acting as an F1 team again.
Yeah. Yeah, look, but there's nothing wrong with the Ferrari engine. Let's be honest.
Oh no,
it's the car that's the issue.
Yeah, but that's it. You're never guaranteed both, whether you're a works team or not. But I'm really excited about the Honda Aston Martin thing with the Adrian Newey factor. But also, I still have love for Aston Martin from the days of Jordan. Like, for me, that team is always going to be close to my heart because obviously Eddie Jordan started up the team and then it was sold off and eventually turned into Aston Martin. So I'll always have a soft spot for that team as well. So I do really hope that they do well again. They haven't won like a proper race since 99 was the last race with Jordan they won, or was it 2001 with Fisichella? Actually, I think 2001. So yeah, look, I am super excited for them. I'm super excited for all the teams next year. But for me, it's now a complete different rule set. It interests me, but it also bores me. But obviously, we need to do an RIP to DRS. This was the last race of it. That's now gone. How do you feel actually on that before we go any further? Because that's a mixed topic depending on the fan that you are.
I like, in theory, what DRS is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's always been delivered right.
No, it was a necessary evil for the aero that has been in play in the
Yeah,
early 2010s and even
yeah,
upwards. It has been just an
yeah.
unnecessary evil. I
What I would
enjoyed
have
it.
liked to see is refueling come back into play.
Safety.
Yeah,
Safety.
and I get that, but the
Yeah.
refuel in other sports, okay, you
Yeah.
can make it safe in my eyes. I mean, times have moved on.
Yeah, but it's F1.
Um,
They'll always find a little way just to try and make it that bit faster or,
yeah, but no, which is fine,
Yeah.
but there's still you still put regs in place. I still,
I agree with it because it
and
means
yeah,
that it's faster racing because it's the whole race is a sprint then because you're able to go flat out, pop up and flat out again on a lighter load. So as a
but there
purist
was
fan, I
strategies as
agree
well.
with you. Yeah, as a purist fan, I absolutely agree. I would love to see it back. I just know it's not going to happen. They're gone way too PC in that way that there won't be any more refueling like that. I loved it because it brought a completely different dynamic because you'd have some people under
Yeah,
severely low fuel. And then, like, I'd love to see more tire manufacturers back in. Is another thing I'd love to see as well. But it's just one of those things
yeah,
I
I
can't
agree
see
that.
it.
By the way,
You know,
my thing with Formula One is DRS was a necessary evil, which didn't always work. It was either
yeah,
way too strong or not strong enough, and
yeah.
it didn't achieve. It was like saying it was there because cars couldn't follow, so therefore you had to artificially make a way for people to be able to overtake. And at some points, it was so strong they weren't even fighting. You just drove past on the straight.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
band-aid on a big wound.
yeah, so you had that. For me, refueling. I think your point about tires was also I would bring in different tire manufacturers, and I like the idea of strategies being opened up. You know, even to the point where some of these, like the race we had the other week where they enforced 25 laps.
I didn't like that.
Why didn't they? But do you know what? I think Russell made the point. Why didn't they enforce it? Why didn't they enforce it? They had to use all three tires.
Well, yeah, this was there not a time that they tried that? Why does that ring a bell with me? I just, the all three
Because
tires thing, I don't think would work because then you're setting everyone up on a tree stop, so it's not really giving an alternate in
no,
strategy.
but it was. Yeah, but it was. No, it was a two-stop. Okay, so it was always
Mm.
going to be a two-stop. But if you said you had to use all three tires, all of a sudden you knew you had to run the soft, so you had to make the hard last and the medium to a certain extent.
But you're not going to do an
Okay,
alternate
because
strategy by that. By having it open where you can use the tires, you can do a medium, medium soft, a medium, medium hard. That gives a little bit more strategy. By making them mandatory run all three, that takes that away because everyone's going to have to do the same thing basically, regardless whether they do the softs at the start or at the end or in the middle.
yeah, but it's the
You know,
amount they run, no, the lengths they run on each tire, which I would have liked the idea of. Look,
yeah.
something's not right at the moment. I'm hoping next year with the change of cars to smaller, narrower, be able to drive closer again. All this is sort of redundant, if you know what I mean. We look at it and go, look at what great racing we're having again. But
Mm.
let's see what next year brings.
Yeah, I suppose going on to next year, we are looking at completely different setup in terms of powertrain. It's going to be a power unit and a simplified hybrid system. I think it's 50-50 split on the power of the ICE at the internal the engine itself and then the electric power. But I think it's the electric power goes up to like 350 kilowatts, whatever the hell that is. I don't know. But it's like a 300% increases from what I've seen on the actual electrical power into it.
Yeah, so looking at the engine will go from 550 kilowatts down to 400 kilowatts. And the electrical side will go from 120 kilowatts to 350 kilowatts. So, 300% more.
Will we be seeing those still consistent 1,000 horsepower, or do you think that's going to be dropping? Because don't forget,
It's dropping.
Yeah, that hurts me. I'm not going to lie.
It's dropping, mate. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm looking at some of the stats here where they're saying aerodynamics 25 high downforce, 26 low drag.
Yeah.
So let's see what they bring. They're going to be lighter. They're smaller.
Yeah.
In every which way. I mean, the tires are obviously going back to being smaller tires as well. So 25 mil smaller on the front and 30 mil smaller on the rear.
It's to slow them down a bit, which is annoying me a little bit. But obviously, they will have the active aero now. We don't know what that's going to be like until we see it in practice because we've never seen it in F1 before with the active aero like this. I like looking at it. Obviously, they're removing the MGH, so the engine will be lighter. So they might be a bit lighter, but I do feel they're restricting it too much with the tires being thinner, with the power being dropped, and I don't know. I haven't been excited over them ever since they released the regulations and looked over them. Nothing's excited me. The 2018 regs really excited me. Wider cars, much more aggressive looking, and massive downforce. I know the racing at times wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's what is the active aero? What is it there for? I mean, it's not a DRS. I mean, reading what they're saying here, drivers use it on the straights to maximise efficiency and speed, regardless of traffic.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to work. Again, we don't know how close these cars are going to get to each other, and if they're going to struggle during the corners.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a really boring season? And we just don't know until we see it, until they're on track. And what we know how clever these engineers are. If there's a loophole to be had, they will find it.
But theoretically, it's going to be slower because it's going to be only 30 kilos, I think, is the actual weight that's being saved on the cars overall in terms of the weight limit. They've reduced downforce by about 30% though as well. Obviously, with thinner tires on it as well, they're going to be a lot slower, and then reduced drag by 55%. So that's where you might see maybe a bit of overtaking. But don't forget, in 2018, we're told, oh, the cars are going to be less draggy, there's going to be more overtakes. It wasn't. We still needed the DRS for it.
Yeah,
I am extremely skeptical of it, but I do feel, as you say, there's going to be super clever engineers that will find a way, hopefully.
I mean, I'm reading some of the stats here, just the standout stuff, like manual override mode. The tactics while the leading cars, electrical power tapers off at 290 kilometers an hour. The chasing car can deploy 350 kilometers of power up to 337 kph.
Yeah.
Is that overpowered?
I don't know, being the answer. I'm not an engineer to say yeah or no on that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
again, it's going back to this artificial overtaking.
Yeah, well, it is another way of it. Now, it's an interesting way with the active aero and having these mad override modes for the power, and that gives the driver maybe a bit more involvement. But we know that's going to be run by the engineers. It's not going to be run by the driver over feel and stuff like that. It's not like back, was it when McLaren had the double pedal and stuff like that, where they still had the input for it to really work in that as well. Look, I'm worried but excited at the same time. It's like any rule change for me. I didn't like a lot of them, but I was excited about the 2018 ones. And I was excited about this current reg that we're just finishing up on, because when I heard ground effect come back in, I thought, great, the cars have been mega fast. Just unfortunately, they're a bitch to overtake. Well, they got closer. It's very difficult, but that's always going to be the thing when you have such aero dependent cars.
For me, the biggest thing that's going to stand out here, maybe not in Formula One, but I'm talking, you find a lot of things come to Formula One and then they come to the road. Yeah. Sustainable fuel. 100%. Sustainable fuel. Now, I can't help but think that in 10 years' time, this is going to make it to the road.
I would like to think that, because an awful lot of stuff from F1 has come,
that's my point.
Has leaked down through.
Traction control, ABS, a lot of the safety features you normally find, F1 leads the way.
Yeah.
And then it hits the road. And if F1 can make 100% sustainable fuel work, and in mass, by the way, because you're going to need a lot of it.
Well, it's mass is the thing,
Yeah, okay. If they find a way of developing it in mass, okay, it won't surprise me if you start finding this in your petrol stations.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'd rather them do sustainable fuel where we still have a combustible engine, basically.
Yes, yeah.
I am fearing down the road, like F1 won't be F1 if they ever try to go all electric. That'll be the end of it, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, but it's not F1 then, is it?
No. But I suppose one good thing as well, they are talking about trying to bring back V10s after 2030, I think it is. Whether it happens or not, completely different story, but they are trying to work it in to get the noise back. Well, yeah, well, with the sustainable fuels, that could be the way back in.
Yeah.
And could you imagine, Chris, saying in 5 years' time we're getting to hear V10 again roaring around the track? 20,000 RPM, 18,000 RPM. Yeah. It would be epic. Like, unbelievable.
And that's the way it should be for me.
Yeah.
There's no way, when I go and watch GT cars racing, that they should give out a louder noise in the Formula 1 car.
Yeah. Yeah, even the F2s were giving out a louder noise.
Yeah. I mean, and that it's just so yeah. So right, so moving on, I want you to give me your top 5 drivers of the season.
Right. I'm going to start with Bortoleto because I am a fanboy of Bortoleto. Just
Okay.
we'll get that out there. While he didn't start the season strong, he's consistently progressed up. And I really feel he's done a great job. So no, I'm going to give Bortoleto a little shout out there. This is where it gets tough. Obviously, if the top 3 of the championship, you can go on about a few more of the other drivers, but I am going to go with Isaac Hadjar then as a, say, 4th most impressive driver for me this season. Overall, he's had a great rookie season, been super strong. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does next season. 3 positions. I'm going to put Max in 3rd. It's while he's the most exceptional driver for me on the grid, he hasn't surprised me. He's just surprised me just how well he's doing in that car. So yes, I'm going to put him in 3rd position. In the 2nd position, looking throughout the whole thing, I'm not going to go with McLaren driver, which is going to be a big shock to you, I'd say. But I'm going to go Ollie Berman. While I expected him to be very good, he's been surprised me just how mature he's been this season and to consistently beat Ocon. And this is in a car that finished P8 in the championship overall in the constructors. So it's not someone you might be looking at in every race, but I think he's done a phenomenal job. And number 1, I'm always going to go with Lando on this because he's been the exceptional driver this year, but he's come on leaps and bounds from the year before. And Oscar's lost out on it a little bit just because it's his underperformance for several races in a row, which he wasn't performing at the level he is at. So whatever his issues was, that's probably what's dropped him out of me saying he's been in my top 5 drivers overall because of that. Because you have to put in the rookies there that have done a great job. You could even say Nico Hülkenberg as well, getting a podium position and being super strong in that car all year. A lot of them have arguments. Even Carlos Sainz end of the season has been phenomenal.
Well,
you know what I mean?
So to give you my sort of, I'd say 5, but I'm going to start off with a bit what you're saying there. To give shout outs, I want to give shout outs to Bortoleto and Hülkenberg.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I am not dismissing how well they've done this season.
Yeah.
But they're not in my top 5.
Okay.
Okay. My 5th best driver this season, I think, is Berman.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Coming into Haas, which is not a leading car.
Mm-hmm.
I think he finished 4th in one of the races.
Yeah, he did indeed.
Finished a few 6th. He's had Q3 qualifyings. For me, unbelievable.
Yeah, his Mexico race stood out. His Mexico race really stood out. What a great drive.
Yeah. Okay. In fact, I would just correct myself. He wasn't 5th. He was my 4th driver.
Okay.
My 5th driver, going back 1, Carlos Sainz.
Very fair. Very fair.
Okay. Now, I think he struggled at the beginning of the season. He had a few issues that wasn't his fault as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's proved when things started getting right for him from about halfway, 3/4 through the season, I know it is late, but he was in a new team. He showed his quality. And he put that Williams up in places it really didn't deserve to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. 3rd, George Russell.
Okay.
2 wins this season.
Yeah.
In a McLaren that doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the Mercedes that doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the front. Okay. He maximizes everything from that car. And when the 2 wins are there, when he looks like he's going to win the race, he never looked like he wasn't going to win the race.
Yeah.
And I just think he's completely outdriven that car this season and where it should have been. I've been so impressed with how well he's driven. And bear in mind, during all of this, he's had contract talks in the background going off.
Yeah.
When they was openly chasing Max Verstappen, he didn't know if he was going to have a seat next season. What was going on? Did they want him? Did they not want him? Yeah, all that mental side of it. But outside of it, he still drove. Unbelievable.
I agree.
2nd, Hadjar.
Okay. And much higher than me, but he deserves it as well. So absolutely.
Yeah. what's impressed me, he had Australia where he put it in the wall.
Yeah.
Before he even got going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a start.
Yeah.
Okay. Had a change of teammate. Had a change of team principle. But at some point in this season, he has looked like a truly world-class driver.
Well,
In
Netherlands does
his
stand
rookie
out.
season.
Well, Netherlands in P3.
Yeah. It just been, and he's been so consistent, but he's been consistent here, then had highs.
Yeah.
He hasn't been like this. He's literally
Yeah.
been here
Yeah.
and then built in some real highs in the consistency as a
Yeah.
whole.
I agree.
Okay. And then obviously number one's Norris.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Wow, shocked.
For me, Max didn't get in because we know what Max is about. I don't think Max drove any better or any worse than what Max drives. Okay. I think an Oscar Piastri for me finished third when he should have finished second.
Yeah.
And it's only his own doing with his own dip in form that he finished third and not second. And so for me, them two don't make it in, not because they've not been impressive at time, not because Max didn't finish 2 points behind Lando in a car that should have been there. But we know what they're about. For me, these were the drivers that when I started the season have really stood out for me in different ways.
Well, I expected so much more though from Oscar. Like, what kills me is like looking back at the season that he had. Like, what was it? A race win China, a race win Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, Miami, all back to back. Then another win then in Spain. He was doing amazing with 2 tours in between that. He was literally winning around the podium. That was obviously a bad race in Australia, starting out unfortunately a P9, and that's a great bad race to be still getting points.
And then he went off.
Yeah, look, he underwhelmed for only for a small part of the season, but it's enough, I think, for both of us not to put them in our top 5s.
Yeah,
And
then obviously, question we discussed beforehand: who's your outstanding team? That's not McLaren.
So this one I'm actually still struggling with. So I'm stuck between 2 teams, and I'm probably just going to give my reason why on both teams, I think, right?
Okay.
So in terms of standout, I'm going to say Williams being one, because obviously a massive turnaround, getting the car in places at times from both drivers. And don't forget, I think Sainz had 5 DNFs and Albon had quite a few as well. They were still a work in progress, but they done outstanding when it mattered. But I just have to say Mercedes this season for me have stood out in a way, because they definitely didn't have the overall best car, but they were never standing out as the second best car either at one particular moment throughout the season where I thought, right, they're Rockies. Fair enough, the win in Singapore and George's other win were great. But it just shows the tenacity of Mercedes that they kept fighting back, going from the 0 pod concept into the next concept that they tried and maybe reverted back a bit and changed again for this season. But they have been thereabouts. Like, Red Bull should really be up there, but the fact they didn't have a second driver to really get themselves up there, that's what knocks me down a bit with Red Bull. Ferrari, I always expect more of them because obviously it's Ferrari. So to be honest, I'm probably going to give it to Williams. While Mercedes being good, I think Williams was just being exceptional from where they were even 2-3 years ago.
Look, so yeah, I mean, going back to Mercedes, think about me from Mercedes, not so much the car concept and the quality of the car, that's questionable.
Yeah.
But when it comes to race weekends, they very rarely make mistakes, and they tend to maximize the weekends. And we spoke about this about Red Bull as well. They're both very good at maximizing weekends and results. They very rarely screw up pit stop strategies, tires, how low's the car. When it comes to the race weekend, they tend to get it right. And that's why I think for me, even with a rookie in place in Ancelotti, who's also driven very well this season.
Yeah.
But for me, I wrote it down here, Williams.
Yeah. I think that's quite fair. And I think most people who do watch Formula 1 will be impressed with them. And look, as you say, Kimi Antonelli had a great season in the rookie season, but we always expect Antonelli to be quite strong because he's a great driver. We had great expectations of him coming in to replace Hamilton as well. He did struggle for a bit, but he's come back as much better driver as well. So I do agree. While giving a shout out, I do really feel that James Vowles and the full team of Williams definitely have been the standout for me and how they've turned it around. Because you remember a few years ago, with Latifi and Russell. Like they were struggling for stuff, and that's when Russell was still driving brilliant, but he's only driving brilliant for like 12ths or 10ths or
well, they were the worst team on the
15ths.
grid.
Yeah.
They were literally.
Yeah.
Russell was dragging that car out of Q1 into Q2, and it was like amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember being excited from like God damn.
Yeah. He's got out of it. He's finished. He's qualified in I don't know 14th, and it was like the best thing ever. So, but going from that, the driver lineups they had, and yes, they had Russell, but Russell was loaned from Mercedes.
Yeah.
Okay, having the worst team, financial struggles.
Yep.
Yeah, to being brought out, bringing in James Fowles, having 2 quality drivers on the grid now.
Yeah.
And seeing the improvement throughout the season. What did they finish 5th this season, the drivers?
Yep.
What an unbelievable turnaround. What an unbelievable and for me, most improved team.
100%. And you know something, and I don't know if you thought this or if anyone out there who does watch this can even comment and say it. I can't help but to feel when Carlos got both his podiums, I always thought, I wonder how happy Frank Williams would be to see it, because Frank was a fucking racer and like he loved the drivers. He didn't mind doing the sponsorships or everything like that, but Frank was all about the drivers and just the racing. Like I remember, I think it was with Villeneuve and that, or even Montoya, there was like, get out there, spin it, crash it, do whatever. And even Jenson Button, get out there and get the results. He didn't care if someone crashed if they gave it everything. And like I could only imagine how happy Frank was. Like for me, while it's not officially a Williams team, I love that Thornton have kept the name. But yeah, I suppose
they're going back to the logo next season, aren't they? The same.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm super excited for, like, as I say, like I am a McLaren fan through and through, but I'm a fan of every team. And I'm just super happy for them, and just the nostalgia there for me, because Williams has history and they deserve to be up there. Like every team does, but like when you look at the teams that are there now, Williams absolutely deserve to be there. Aston Martin for me still deserve to be there because of the Jordan pedigree as well. You know what I mean? Ferrari are obviously in here since day one. McLaren have massive pedigree, deserve it. Mercedes have really proven the pedigree, and don't forget, Mercedes were in the 50s until obviously that massively fatal and a huge bad incident happened where they pulled out of motorsport altogether and have come back as the engine supplier, and then obviously took over Brawn.
And Mercedes has history. Do you know what I mean? Mercedes do have history.
Massive history. Yeah.
So they deserve to be there. And Red Bull, although they took over Jaguar and was a new team, have proved their worth with everything they brought to the table.
I still look at that as a Horner team though as well, because without Horner back getting those deals done, they wouldn't have been where they are now. Let's just call a spade with that. Dietrich Mateschitz believed in Horner, because Horner was what was it, the F2 or sorry, the F3 team, wasn't it, before that? And a few other kind of minor motorsport teams that he was running as well. So like, like Red Bull are a true racer team. I do hope that they're going to stay that way. But Lauren Mechis as well, who's took over for Horner, do you know what? I'm surprisingly impressed at how he's handled his coming in as team principal this season. And I think that's something I want to ask you as well. Out of all the team principals, who has really surprised you the most this year? And I'm not going to go with Zach Brown myself on this one, while I am the McLaren fan. I would go with Lauren Mechis and how he's dealt with such a high profile team to turn it around and, you know, be able to keep his own leadership amazing. And even how he spoke about Lewis and he speaks about other drivers as well. Super humble, but super honest heart and sleeve. So for me, I'm very much happy with him in terms of the team principals. But is there any team principal for you, Chris, who's really stood out for you? Obviously, other than James Vowles, because I know you have a love for him. Yeah.
The improvement in that team, the way they dealt with the 2 drivers, the way they quietly gone around their business.
Yeah.
If I want a shout out.
Yeah.
Haas.
I can't pronounce his name though, so I'm not going to even attempt it.
Ayaro Komatsu.
Yeah. I murdered that.
I think he's come in from the technical side, especially after, you know, having such a high profile team principal, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay. He stepped in. He's quietly gone around his job. And like you're saying, they have improved the season. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Haas. I don't like I don't think they bring enough to the table. I've said this
It's the philosophy is really what you're not unhappy with.
Yeah. I don't think they bring difference between say them and Red Bull. Red Bull brings something to the table, has to bring nothing to the table.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think they had a team principal there who you can't not. He's come in, and what a great job
I'd agree.
Gone and done.
I'd agree. Especially taking over from Steiner, who was a fan favourite from that Drive to Survive and that. Although I'm going to ask you a question now, and I haven't said it to you beforehand because I wanted to kind of maybe finish up on a bit of a fun thing for you. If you were a team owner from any team principal in history, any drivers in history, what would be your two drivers and your team principal throughout history? Who would you pick as your drivers and team principal?
Ron Dennis. The guy was brutal, but by God, did he know how to run a team?
Peak Ron Dennis, I agree with. And your two drivers for that?
How far are we going back?
From history, whoever you want. Whoever you want, you have choice.
Senna. Jim Clark.
Wow. Jimmy Clark, yeah, a good driver as well. Two very good drivers. And also, I was honestly shocked that he didn't say Verstappen because, like, for me, unbelievable.
He is. And I fairly nearly went something like Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
But I think I don't want to just go with what I call the obvious as in terms of world championships. I mean, I know Senna might have seen obvious, but in terms of champions,
yeah,
Max, Schumacher, Hamilton, do you know what I mean? For me, it was always said how good Jim Clark was. He could literally drive.
Yeah.
Anything could be quick. Senna, again, went too early, but who knows where he ended up. And I think Ron Dennis was the right man to lead strong characters.
I agree with that. I would have said Ron Dennis, but also because you said it, I'm not going to copy. I'm going to go John Todd, who's an exceptional team principal as well. And the two drivers I go for would be quite a little bit different to you. I will go Max Verstappen for one because I truly believe, and I said this to you, I don't know beforehand or in a message, I do believe he's either equal or better than Senna in terms of just talent. He's so good. And like for me to say that about Senna is a big thing because I've adored Senna since I was a kid. Like, and I think to compliment him, I'd go JB, Jenson Button, because he's going to be super at developing the car. He's going to be super consistent and always there. And I feel you need a 1-2 on the team. While Button is a world champion, he's never going to be on Max's pace, but I do feel he'd really bring the team forward. So I'd go with, it's such a neutral driver lineup that's super strong.
Okay, so I'm going to chuck a question at you. I haven't got an answer to this, by the way, but I'm going to chuck it at you.
Okay.
What era of car?
Oh, man. So, realistically, it would be between the 90s and 2000s. The 2004 era car was ridiculous, but then again, you've got the Active Aero in the early 90s.
93s.
I'd probably go with the 90s just because in that rule set, you'd V8s, V10s, V12s. Different, you'd Goodyear, you'd Bridgestone and Michelin or whoever else was in there at the time. I just feel the rules are way more out there. You had like 30 teams trying to get in, 40 cars trying to get into a 26 grid and stuff like that. It was just so exciting. And that's where you had like Jordan coming in and all these small startups just giving it a go. And we're never going to see that again because the cost of stuff now. So I definitely would go with the early 90s to mid 90s era because it was just had everything. While don't get me wrong, the 70s, the 60s developed to where Formula One is now. They started finding aero and rear engine cars and stuff like that going from front engines in the 50s and in the early 60s and stuff like that. That has all been super exciting. But when you had the regulations that open where there was so much happening, and active suspension to non-active to sequential to manual, you had a mix of everything. So
I would likely follow you, but very closely behind that would have been the 1970s.
Oh, the 70s were phenomenal, and like aero on some of the cars and the fan car that was developed and banned.
They're just rocket fuel, weren't they? Just a bomb, basically. Ready to, but the sound, the racing.
Yeah,
that sort of James Hunt era.
yeah. The old legendary DSP engine from Ford as well, that raced and won championships.
Yeah, that for me would be right up there in terms of wanting to, in terms of what race. Okay, I know the cars themselves are a bit unreliable, but put that aside.
Mhm.
But in terms of watching cars, the noise, the sound, how close they were, the outright racing.
Yeah,
Germany's the 70s cars from me would have been right up there in terms of what
yeah.
era car would put them in.
I still love the
And I'd probably put
50s as
that to be
well.
different than you.
Yeah, that's fair. But even the 50s, like, it's very hard. But the only reason I go for the 90s, as I say, is because I had a variety of everything. Because for me, I still love 2004 season. All those cars, the V10, 20,000 RPM, super small, super nimble, literally refueling in place. There was a bit of traction control, but they were next level. Like Mataya's lap in Monza, for me, it'll go down as history as one of the greatest laps in Formula One ever in that Williams BMW.
Yeah, I mean, look, you talk about the 50s. That's like when they show highlights of old school F1.
I
That's
know,
what
but they were
see.
so beautiful though. I've watched as much of as much archive stuff as there is. I guarantee you, I've watched. They were just beautiful. The Mille Miglia and stuff like that as well, even away from Formula One. What an era of racing! What an era!
I actually really love the 60s F1 cars. Even in the sim.
Oh yeah,
They are. I don't do F1 cars in simulator.
mm.
If I do, it's the 60s.
Do you remember the crack we all had in Automobiles to Two, all the 60s car and the older Nordschleife and that? Man,
Unbelievable, mate.
some of
They
the
are
best
so much
racing.
fun.
Yeah,
So much fun. They're the cars. If I personally was going to drive, it's them.
yeah, oh yeah. But yeah, no, I'll stick with my 90s though, because I just, when you look at everything, and like, I do agree with you with the 70s as well, because I had a little mixture of that, but less on the engine side. But definitely the aero and car design, man, was so random. It was great to see as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's no wrong answer to what we're saying though.
No. So well, I think hour and a half into it now. I think we've had a great chat tonight. I think a great talk about today's race, championship, next season. Yeah, unbelievable. I hope people enjoy, if they're still here watching, enjoyed the chat and the conversation. Hopefully leave some comments below and like the pod.
Absolutely. And yeah, so next week we probably will veer away a bit from motorsport and into other topics. But to know what that's going to be, you'll have to join in next Monday to find out. So guys, look, for myself, thank you so much. And I'll let Chris, as always, give us the exit. And yeah, enjoy.
Yep. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Please leave a comment down below. And we'll catch you for our next podcast next week.